I got another story for you. So some of you might know this, some of you might not. I am dyslexic. And before like all of the people watching are like, so am I. I'm dyslexic too. I totally am. Until your parents drag you to a bunch of shrinks that constantly remind you that you're an idiot, you're not dyslexic, all right? I got like the certification, like it's actual dyslexia. So I'm sitting in my living room. I was homeschooled until like 7th grade, and my mom is teaching me to spell things on a felt board, okay? If you don't know what felt is, then you need to, I don't know, what happened to felt? Whatever happened to felt? So she's teaching me how to spell things. And this is like the first things you'd ever learn to spell. I had gone through the alphabet. There were a few rules that I was starting to get down. I was like, the E does something to the other vowels. And so she throws up a word, N-O. All right, I know what you're thinking. N says N, O says ah, nah. It actually says no. Clearly N says N and O says ah, okay? And there's like not an E in sight. I'm looking everywhere for that darn E. I know that the E makes the O say its freaking name. Mom, you're wrong because N says N and O says ah. There's not even an E in it. You told me if the E was there, the O would say its name. I mean, you could put a W at the end and it would be closer to no. Actually, if you put a W at the end, it says now. Okay, so no is N-O, which doesn't make any sense. And now is N-O-W. Still no rules applying here. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Well, if you put a K at the beginning, it goes back to being no. I'm not grasping spelling pretty much at all to this point. My poor mom. Man, I gotta hook my son up to some equipment here because there is something very wrong with him. And so I had gone to these like people, you know, before that have been like, all right, hop on one leg and use your right arm to do this, use your left arm to do that. And by the end they were like, you are dyslexic. And this is where the memory gets a little confusing. Because I want to say that this was at a Burger King. I really don't think it was. We walk into this Burger King, and there are like these scientist-looking people. I promise it's not a dream. They've got these like really retro-looking, like how you'd expect like 90s glasses to look, like if the glasses were supposed to track your eyeball movement. They look like they're made out of Duplos, which are like the off-brand versions of Legos. And I can kind of see what's happening in front of me, and it's like a scrolling text. I mean, it's just going up really slow. I imagine, I haven't gotten in the seat yet, that they're gonna tell me, well, you gotta read the stuff and then the glasses will track your eye movement. So I put these glasses on. They're just these big plastic blue glasses, like square glasses. Now, Greg, once you put the glasses on, the text is gonna start scrolling, but don't worry, it's gonna be real slow. We want you to do your best to read what's on the screen. For whatever reason, I read this thing perfectly. And by read, I mean not read at all. Right off the bat, there are already words that don't make any sense. The vowels were all rebellious. Like they never sound like what they're actually supposed to sound like. E is just constantly going around like jabbing the other ones. Oh, hey! Unless there's a couple of them together and they're screaming their own name too. You have like the high class letters. Now these are the letters that like they never change. K, on the other hand, K was like in a class of its own, also with like GH, if you wanted to consider them a pair, because like they'll intrude their way into words and like not say a word. And then they'll change stuff, like them being there. GH is standing right next to me. How do you expect me to say the same thing? He's right there. T wasn't cool once I found out the whole TH thing, because that really just betrayed a lot of trust in me. It was so simple. It was T, and it was easy to draw too, which was important. I could draw T's all day. Ask me right now, I could draw a whole bunch of T's, lowercase, uppercase, any of them. T hooks up with freaking H and screws everything up. It was one of like the few rules that seemed to always make sense, right? Like every time it's TH, it says, all right, like we need some letters to say that, right? Because those are sounds that we make. But CH, forget about it. And so H, I always had animosity towards. So I had these classes of letters, and they had their own characteristics, and it helped me. I mean, I guess it didn't, because I'm I'm still really dyslexic. Yeah, the guy, he comes up to my mom. Ma'am, your son is still a moron. He's very dyslexic. He might be getting worse. Actually, we don't even know what he was. It's very bad. Are you kidding me?